independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Absolute terrifying nightmare if you are the current president of the United States of America, and if you are the people that hate the former president of the United States of America. You better figure out how they turn this thing around, because at this moment in time, the polls show Trump would win in a walk. In fact, just about anybody would win at this time in a walk. Biden and the Democrats better start to figure this thing out sooner rather than later. That's it. Period. Case closed. End of story. If you didn't listen to Chuck Todd yesterday talk about these things, let me tell you something. When he breaks it down, it's fairly simplistic.
We have a brand new NBC News poll out this morning that's filled with some scary news for the Democrats. The overarching message: Americans have lost their confidence in President Biden and their optimism for the country. At least they have right now. Just 22% of adults say we're headed in the right direction. A shocking 71% say we're on the wrong track, and that includes a near majority of Democrats who are saying that.
That's right. A near majority of Democrats say that. Democrats say, you know what? We're not going in the right direction. Whatever direction you got us going in, it in the right one. And your numbers are abysmal. Not even close to being good. I mean, yes, Congress would love to have these kind of numbers, but the reality is, as a president, you need to do better. And you look lost. Optics matters. I don't care what anybody says. We look weak. He looks weak. He looks befuddled. He looks confused. He looks frustrated. They are not helping their case. And tomorrow night may be a huge night when it comes to Virginia, what might happen there, and the first shot fired in this 2022 midterm, even though it's still 2021. But this is what a lot of people are looking at. And right now, the numbers are ugly.
President Biden's approval rating stands at a dismal 42% versus 54% who disapprove. Believe it or not, just 2 months ago, Mr. Biden was in positive territory, 49% approving, 48% disapproving. So what's pulling down the president's numbers? Just 37% say he has the ability right now to handle a crisis versus nearly a majority who say he does not. 37% also say he's competent and effective as president. 50% disagree with that description.
50% say you're not competent to do the job. There are some things which the Democrats are winning at. No doubt about that. But at the end of the day, are those the things that matter at night when, you know, they always talk about the dinner table? Sitting around talking to your friends, to your family, to people. What are you talking about? Are you talking about climate change all night? No. You're probably talking about abortion? Probably not. Mom and dad, dad and dad, mom and mom, whatever you want to do that makes everybody feel good and changes, you know, they, them, she, he, have, you know, ZZ, whatever. The reality is they're talking about the day-to-day workings of their life. Kids to and from school, schools become a battleground. Absolutely. Kids going to soccer practice, picking the kids up. You got your business. Your business is struggling because of COVID. You managed to survive, but now you're sitting in limbo in certain parts of the country, not quite sure what's going to happen. You can't get the goods you need. You can go on and on and on. Yeah, there are some things they lead at big time. Things like climate change, coronavirus, education, and abortion. That's where, when you ask which party you think will do a better job of those. But on the other side?
What's more, Republicans have double-digit leads in dealing with border security, inflation, crime, national security, the economy, and shockingly, on getting things done.
That's right. So, border security, plus 27%. There is no border security. This administration is useless when it comes to that. Inflation. Sorry, it lands at your feet. Are there some things you can do? Yeah, we've talked about it. At the end of the day, some of it is just a cyclical situation, but you and I both know there are a few things you could do. Is it going to make a huge difference? Part of inflation and part of what goes on, and I've always talked about this, is consumer confidence. And if they don't feel confident, it isn't going to happen. Crime. Come on now. Let's be real. Here's the one, though. National security, same thing as crime. Economy, plus 18%. Plus 18%. That's massive. and getting things done, plus 13%. At the end of the day, right now, and you're going to get this, whoever's in power, people are looking for, what are you doing with the power? Are you overreaching? Maybe in some cases they're trying. But are you doing nothing? Overreaching is one thing. Doing nothing is something completely different. And right now, they're looking around and people are going, you guys are idiots. You can't get anything done. You can't get around your own self. You're tripping over yourself. You're coming from the lead. You're going to snatch victory away from yourself and hand it to the jaws of defeat. That's what people are looking at. And the numbers bear it out. And the independents, which pushed him over, well, I have news for you. Absolute dismal. Dismal. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. People are frustrated. People are angry. Big parts of this country, they're looking around and going, well, what's going to happen here with things like crime? What's going to happen here with things like, well, I don't know, New York City and the firefighters and police?
Members of New York City firefighters, fire department are being put on leave without pay.
Put on leave without pay. They're frustrated.
There's a 1 in a million chance of passing from COVID right now. The rates are going down. We all know that. Why this is being forced on us is, on everybody, it's just, we believe it's a political thing.
It is a political thing. I mean, it's absolutely, it's a money thing. But those things don't help. When you've got potentially 25% of people in places like the fire department and the police who are willing to walk away in certain areas and exodus out of other areas in certain parts of this country where they're saying, screw it, we'll leave.
It's causing an exodus in the firehouse from people that can retire. And for those that can't retire, they're going to be locked out of the firehouse.
Or they'll look elsewhere. And we're seeing that. Here in Phoenix, we are getting tons of, so one of my friends who works, he does a show here. So Jamie's a really good guy. He is a police officer, and he came out of the field about 2-3 months ago now, and he works on retaining and recruiting police. And one of the things he said is, well, I'm having a tough time retaining officers because they're worried in the social media world. It's just, they feel it's not worth it. On the other side of things, he goes, the amount of people that are coming from places across the country who want to come out here, enjoy the weather, and not have to feel like they're living in some weird world of being, well, forced to do something that they don't feel they need to. And he goes, oddly enough, and I've talked to several people, they're like, hey, I'm vaccinated, but I don't feel I should have to play this game. So it's very interesting. That doesn't help. When you look around, hey, who they're going red state, blue state, red state, blue state. They may have blue thoughts, but they're looking at red state freedoms and go, well, how can I have that? That's the frustrating part. Right now, this administration better figure it out. Today, you're out there, you're talking about climate change. Great. Climate change, fantastic. What's the average person talking about? Is it climate change? Are they thinking to themselves, oh, my God, what about this? How can I make this thing better? What can I do? What kind of challenge is out there? How can I? No, what they're thinking about is, how do we pay our bills? How do we get through this? How do we live our lives? We're not quite sure what our life's going to look like tomorrow based on what the local government may do, what school issues we're going to have. There's the frustrating part. I want my president to succeed. There have been opportunities here. They've got huge money sitting out there when it comes to actually getting an infrastructure deal done that would help with our power plants, help with our water plants, reinforce our grids, build road, bridges, all of those kind of things. But they're too busy fighting over crap that most people are sitting around going, at this point in time, I don't care about that. First of all, the things you rolled out there originally, why some of the Democrats are pissed is because it's not big enough. And you've allowed the crony capitalism people inside of your party to reshape this thing to a point where it doesn't recognize it the way that you were pitching it. On the other side of things, there are also things in there that, you know what, Manchin was right. You're trying to build an entitlement country. That's not good either. When you're handed power, people are looking, how are you going to use that power? Are you going to use it to put through your ideas that you think are better? Or are you going to overreach and punish? Or are you going to do nothing with that power? Because you're so busy at trying to control the power for your own means that instead of doing something, you do nothing. Right now, people don't want the mandates. They're not happy about it. They feel like this thing is becoming not only political, but it's at a point now where it feels at times like punishment. And you've got a group of people that are so busy tripping over themselves, trying to get to the finish line, that are they asking themselves, what's the average person in Cedar Rapids, Iowa thinking right now as they wake up on a Monday, the 1st November? Well, they're thinking, wow, Christmas is almost here. How do I get this sorted out? What do we need to do? How am I going to get the stuff I need to my business? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. They're called Rough Greens, and they make any pet food better. Give it to my dog Doodle, who, by the way, just absolutely loves his Rough Greens. The only thing I could say that he may love a little bit more than Rough Greens is pizza crust. For whatever reason, he loves pizza crust, and he will cut a person for pizza crust. But the dream of Rough Greens and what it did for my dog Doodle, and I didn't believe it at first when I got it. I got a dog that's older. He's got bad hips. I just didn't think he was going to survive and live a good life. We were thinking about putting him to sleep because he was gotten to the point where even petting him was too bad. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of this incredible stuff. They just said, Chad, sprinkle it on top of his food. Give us a couple weeks. It'll work. You know, let us show what we can do. We did, and whoa, changed Doodle's life. Here we are, almost 2 years later. He's healthier and happier than he's ever been since we've had him, and he's got more energy, and he can jump on stuff, which he couldn't do before. His little bed, he couldn't even get up on it. That's how bad it was. You couldn't even pick him up to put on it because it hurt. He is living his best life. So will your dogs. Try it before you buy it. Rough Greens wants you to try it. Absolutely free. You cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com/Chad. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Or call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Turn on the news. What do you see? You see inflation is up. You see the usual chaos and craziness, right, that goes on in the fighting in politics. One of the big things you see is the fact that it's the holiday season. I mean, November 1st is today. Yesterday was Halloween. We'll touch on that in a minute. But all that being said, travel has been a nightmare. And over the weekend, issues yet again. This time, American Airlines.
The airline had been bringing back employees laid off during the pandemic, getting them retrained. So 1,800 more go onto the line, start flying.
1,800, so flight attendants. So over the weekend, you guys didn't have any kind of issues outside of that. It was just didn't have enough people, and you didn't have, maybe some weather delays, but it was a nightmare.
According to an internal letter obtained by ABC News, the airline blamed the troubles on 2 days of severe winds at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, its largest hub. Writing in a note to employees, quote, "We could only use 2 runways instead of the usual 5. The letter also stated that 1,800 flight attendants would be returning from leave on November 1st, and the airline is adding more staff.
Yeah, because they're going to need it, much like everything else that's out there. You look and you see shorthanded when it comes to going and right now, if you go to a restaurant, you're going to wait a while. Really popular restaurants, there's a chance you're waiting a smidge. Saw that a couple weeks ago. Went out, waited a little bit. On top of that, you're still trying to find employees. Some of them you're trying to bring back, but then they're not quite sure. You've got the vaccine mandates. You're not quite sure about what's going to happen there. How long does this go on? Because as we all know with the vaccine mandates, they don't ever seem to go on. Over the weekend, more kerfuffle, right? So you get Friday, they say, look, if you've got both shots and you're inside of a home, your just as likely to spread this and or give it to somebody in the home who's got shots or unvaccinated or vaccinated. People, oh my God. And then, you get this thing on over the weekend that says, hey, you know what? We've been looking, and definitely natural immunity isn't as good as the other immunity that we offer you through our shots, according to the CDC. Well, that juxtaposed the thing that Israel pointed out, right? Because Israel came out, and how many people did you look at? We had 5,000. How many did they have? 700,000. Oh, well, maybe we had 7,000. Did you have 700,000? We didn't have 700,000. That's the problem that people have with all of this stuff. Nobody knows. Who do you believe? Who do you believe? I always say, follow the money, you'll find the real science. Follow the money and you'll find the real science. At this point in time, I look at the money and I think, do I think that the shot is good? I think the shot's fine. Do I think it's going to kill you? No, I don't. Do I think natural immunity is good? Absolutely. 100%. Do I think natural immunity doesn't make money for people? Oh, I know that for sure. I think we all do. Frustrating. Big time. So, natural immunity, vaccine passports, religious exemptions, canceled flights. We're heading into a time of weirdness in this country, and we're still battling over something that, quite frankly, we should just be doing what we've always thought we should have been doing, at least we have on this show, which is living above this thing rather than allowing it to dictate us. But it's not the virus that's dictating us. It is the people that love to use the virus to grab some of the things that they enjoy grabbing and using it as a great tool to empower themselves and in some cases enrich themselves. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You're the president, and you see NBC poll numbers. NBC, not Fox, right? Not Fox, not Newsmax, not Breitbart, but NBC poll numbers. And you find out that the people in this country, Republican, Democrat, Independent, believe that we're on the wrong track big time, that your approval rating is 42. Ooh. And that the Republicans...
What's more, Republicans have double-digit leads in dealing with border security, inflation, crime, national security, the economy, and shockingly, on getting things done.
Getting things done. That's scary. Getting things done. If you think that they're the great at getting things done, well, I think we all know that that's not true. But based on what they're seeing now, it's hard to argue. You got people fighting within your own party, uber progressives, the moderate Democrats, and then you've got, quote unquote, the two holdouts in Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Nobody can seem to get something done. Well, you've got an infrastructure bill. That's huge. That's massive. Could have even been bigger. But then you've got the reconciliation bill. And your whole thought process now is it's either this, the reconciliation bill, or take what take it all. We're getting it all or nothing. And while they've whittled it down, you've got progressives that are saying, well, hold on a second. We're not voting, yes on this thing till we get everything we want. So they're totally fine with having nothing. And that's why people look and say, well, you guys are the do-nothings, which is normally in government at least somewhat okay. If they're usually doing nothing, that means they can't screw it up. But they're managing to screw it up. They're managing to jack the pooch. That is not good at all. Then tomorrow night you have Glenn Youngkin taking on McAuliffe. And what a lot of people are looking at from a national standpoint is this the first real issue that Democrats are facing. Even if McAuliffe wins, it is absolutely an issue. Should have won. Biden won by almost 11 points. And now it's a dead heat. And what are they doing? Well, they're just doing what a lot of people are sitting around talking about. They're talking about the economy. They're talking about the insanity of some of these COVID mandates and lunacy. Talking about getting their life back to normal. They're looking at inflation. They're looking at all of these things. And one of the other things is, and parents vote. For those of you not keeping score, parents vote. They're talking about education.
I'll be voting for Glenn Youngkin on November 2nd, and education is the top issue.
Teachers who ask me every day, Glenn, please help us teach our children how to think.
I think that virtual schools didn't do any kids any favors. I think it's really important for in-school education to be happening, for quality education to be happening. And I don't think that critical race theory has any place in our public schools.
No, I don't think so either. And it doesn't mean we don't talk about race, and it doesn't mean we don't talk about everything, and it doesn't mean any of that. I just think the way that the left would like to talk about it, I think is ridiculous. I've seen some of it in California with my little brothers and my son, and not really a fan. And I'm okay. Let's talk about race. I got zero problems with that. It's the way it is. And that even, yes, people who are of color are going, I don't like this stuff either, because it feels extremely uncomfortable that you're sitting there essentially saying, you little white kids are going to suppress these little black kids, and they'll have no opportunity in life to move forward, is what it feels like. Oh, but it's not like that. But that's what it feels like.
Parents had the right to veto books, Glenn, not to be knowledgeable about it, also take them off the shelves. And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decision.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I stopped the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
No. It's funny, though, because you can go to schools across the country and, I always hear that education starts at home. It does. Do I think we should take certain things out of there? I think, like, what are we talking about? Should we have Hollywood Wives for third graders? I don't think so. But in saying that, are there things in there that may be age appropriate? Absolutely. I got no problems with some of that stuff. Zero problems. You shouldn't take anything out. But we've stopped doing that. It's funny because the left likes to change the words to certain things, or they want to eliminate certain things, or they want to take away. I mean, you go to college nowadays and see the stuff you can't say on campus. Oh, this was great literature at one time, but we've decided now because two 22-year-olds took to the internet that this thing shouldn't be around anymore. And everybody goes, oh, yeah, that's right. Let's get rid of it. What's that? Well, Chad, it's college. It's different. Yeah, but it starts somewhere.
He is closing his campaign on banning books. He wants to ban Toni Morrison's book, Beloved. He's going after one of the most preeminent African-American female writers in American history. He wants her books banned. Why did you take the one black female author? Why did you do it? He's ending his campaign on a racist dog whistle. He wants to ban critical race theory. Well, let me explain to you. It's never been taught in Virginia.
Absolutely not true, because it actually is in Virginia, and it's on their website. Virginia education website. It's there. So why is it on there if it's not being taught there? Should they get rid of Toni Morrison's book? No, I don't think they should. Zero problems with it. First of all, it's a book. Let's also remember it's a book. Kids don't read books. They don't. They read the internet. They goof around on the internet. They read stuff because they have to in class, but it's still just a book. You're struggling. McAuliffe is struggling. He's doing everything he can. He's throwing it up. And it matters because the money that's been poured in here, this is seen as the first. This was going to put Trump to bed, right? McAuliffe rolls him. Boom, putting Trump to bed. Midterms next year, that's it. It's over. It's done. It's dusted. Trump's people gets crushed. He is not the CSAR anymore. This means we're not going to have him run again. And boom. At the rate this thing's going, if you held a vote today, I'm pretty sure Trump wins.
He says he wants to, day one, all masks come off and no teachers get vaccinated. Well, that's life-threatening. We have 1,142 children who've been in a hospital here in Virginia. 2 11-year-olds just died the other day from COVID. He doesn't have an education plan. He's got a Donald Trump, Betsy DeVos, take money out of public schools, put them into private schools. That doesn't work in Virginia. And
that doesn't work in Virginia or anywhere else. And you have keep the unions going, give them everything they want, let them do. Both of you've got plans that fit the need of the things that you think work. But this right here is everything you need to know and why people out there, especially people of color, are starting to say, you know what, we've had enough of this from the Democrats.
Listen, it's going to be here before we know it. And as everyone mentioned, first of all, 10.5% of the population is very significant. Now, let me give you some advice. Get busy, get yourself to 11 relatively quickly. There you go. I like to see all the kids here. I've done my part. But that's very important. And
he's telling the Latinos in the office, in the audience, hey, get busy, get procreating, let's do this. What? Yeah. No, it's not what. Yeah, that's what he said. We're at 10.5%. We need to be at 11. So get busy. Here's what I don't think people realize. People of color, younger generation, not a fan of Democrats. They don't buy the BS. Latino population. Yeah, you got some woke kids in school, but you got a lot of people like my grandfather, very conservative. Over the weekend, I went to, we had our local, fair, small fair. I live in the Valley. There are people. And we had a good time. Went there. It was nice. Had some rides and stuff like that. But also, there was a gun show going on next door because that's how we do it out there. Lots of Let's Go Brandon shirts in the gun show. But I was telling producer Anthony, about the size of a hangar, about half the size of a normal, hangar you would see for airplanes. So it's fairly big. In the gun show, 40% of the people in the gun show were black, African American. I don't want anybody to say they're just Americans, but everybody's got to put 40%, and all of them probably under 40. By and large, maybe a few, but most of them. Trump supporters, lots of. Because where I live is we have a large swath of people we have whites and blacks and Hispanics, Latinos, whatever. Same thing. Right now, the Democrats are trying to figure out what to do. And they've spent the last several years essentially talking to people who live on the coast, forgetting that there are other people out there. They're not talking to the middle American Democrat. That's a union member, but at the same time doesn't think there's 4,000 genders. That's a union member, and it's okay with choice, but only to a certain point. That's a union member and isn't worried about the PC the PC culture. Is worried about putting food on their table. There's a lot more of them than the elites on the coast. And if you're the Republicans, you focus on that. If you're the Republicans, you focus on that. That's where your focus should be. But when you hear numbers like this.
President Biden's approval rating stands at a dismal 42% versus 54% who disapprove. Believe it or not, just 2 months ago, Mr. Biden was in positive territory, 49% approving, 48% disapproving. So what's pulling down the president's numbers? Just 37% say he has the ability right now to handle a crisis versus nearly a majority who say he does not. 37% also say he's competent and effective as president. 50% disagree with that description.
Yeah, 50%. That's not good. When you hear those numbers, you start thinking to yourself, what do we do to turn it around? Well, it's not catering to the New York Times, the LA Times, MSNBC, super elite, educated people. It's realizing they're a part of it, But there's so much more, and you better figure out what your base is like. It's like your audience. What's your audience like? What's your customer base like? And say, I want to expand the tent, not narrow it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield. I got Car Shield. My family has Car Shield. And I recommend you get Car Shield. It's great. It is, right? First of all, you don't want to be in a lose-lose situation, especially now with cars lasting longer, but at the same time, cars getting tougher and tougher to find because of what's going on with the microchips, because people are holding on to used cars longer and they're worth more money. Right now, you don't want to be in a situation where you're having to go spend way too much money on a vehicle. Why not just get Car Shield? You like your car. Protect yourself with covered repair. Do that with Car Shield. First time you call Car Shield, you say, hey, let me tell you something. This is what happened. You let their administrators take over. They're going to handle paperwork, expensive payments. They make everything super easy. No hassle, no headaches. You pay a small deductible. And here's the beauty of it. You can save thousands. I'm talking thousands, as I have and my friends have, when it comes to really expensive things that are going on out there right now. It's crazy. Car Shield's administrators take care of everything. You get to choose a mechanic, 24/7 roadside assistance, coast to coast, by the way. Rental coverage, trip reimbursement, no extra charges right there. 5,000 to 150,000 miles. Car Shield is, well, they've helped over 1 million drivers. They're ready to help you. They are America's #1 auto protection company. It's a win-win, easy to do. Go to carshield.com, carshield.com/Benson, carshield.com/Benson. That'll save you 10% right there. They've got plans for everybody's budget. carshield.com/Benson. Do it now. carshield.com/Benson. Save yourself 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
Man, I got my butt kicked this weekend in the world of football. I'll tell you that. Got one more game left. It is not a good weekend for me. Too many teams. The Falcons let me down. Steelers won. Bengals, what are you doing? Losing to a backup quarterback. And it was the Jets. Same old Bengals. Titans and Bills got to win. I gave the Lions. I thought, well, the Lions got to win a game sometime. Nope. Bears won. How'd they do that? Chargers, you guys lost at home. Jags, I tried to give you some love. You had 10 days off and you stunk. Bucks yesterday against the Saints and their quarterback got hurt. Oh, my goodness me. Only redeeming thing is Cowboys won. But outside of that, just tonight I have the Chiefs. So not a great weekend for me. It happens. Still up big time. Watched some movies this weekend. Did not go to the movies and had a decent weekend at the box office. But still, dude, you got a long way to go. Make that money.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis.
Halloween weekend at the box office pretty much the same as last week, with Dune remaining on top. The sci-fi epic earned $15.5 million for a 2-week domestic take of $69.4 million.
He's coming for me.
Halloween Kills hangs tight in second, another $8.5 million there, with No Time to Die still holding third.
He's here.
A disappointing 6th-place tie debut for the horror flicks Antlers and Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, Last Night in Soho was... Antlers is a monster movie. It's the best way to describe it. Last Night in Soho is kind of like a, it's one of those film noir kind of supposedly horror movies. That's like a ghost story, but this week you've got the Eternals opening up. We'll see what that looks like. And that is, of course, these are supposed to be... From what I understand, so I'm trying to still figure this out, they're like gods above the Avengers, right? So you've got all the metahumans and all the stuff but then you've got the ones above the Avengers, but they're only allowed to do certain things on this planet. They're only supposed to fight certain things. So like when Thanos came here, they could have defeated Thanos, but their job is to be more observer and fight these deviants or whatever these things are. They're not really here to participate outside of that. So we'll see what that looks like. I've heard mixed reviews. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Man, did not do well in the magical world of picking this weekend. But I did not turn down a lot of money. And somebody did turn down a lot of money because, well, vaccines.
Ice Cube saying, oh, hell no, to the movie. Oh, hell no. Reportedly dropping out because he won't get vaccinated. The Hollywood Reporter says Cube is ditching a $9 million paycheck for the comedy over his refusal to get the shot. The film co-starring Jack Black was supposed to start shooting this winter in Hawaii. The producers put a mandatory vaccine stipulation in place. No comment from Cube, who has no problem speaking out on all kinds of issues on his social media pages, but he hasn't posted anything about where he stands on vaccines.
Well, I think if you're giving up $9 million, I think we kind of know where you stand. And the problem is, I don't think a lot of people know where they stand on this. And I think that's the problem. People feel like it's an ever-changing thing. Well, it should be. Yeah, it might be somewhat of an ever-changing thing, but I feel like there's always, the change is never going one direction. It's always going in another direction of more this and more that, and rather than sunsetting some of these things, people get frustrated, and what do? They vote. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Getter, your Twitter, and everything else. It's Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Trump's evil. Trump's mean. Trump's a bad person. He tweets mean things. Probably. Probably all those things are right. I don't know about evil. The Republicans are bad, and they're all racist, and they're horrible, and they're bad. Says who? Says us. Yeah. But that's all the usual baloney you find in a world where nobody's talking about policy and things of that nature. Right now, if the Republicans are smart, they'll focus on a very few amount of things and just allow this situation that is currently going on to play itself out. What do you mean play itself out? Just allow the situation that is going on when it comes to poll numbers and how people are looking at Joe Biden to play itself out. Just like Joe, the best thing the Republicans can do is do nothing. Say nothing. Let him and these poll numbers play themselves out. And if you haven't heard the latest poll numbers, let's just say this. Not very good. It's the best way to describe it. Horrible. Stanky. There are things out there that you would think, there's no way appendicitis has better poll number. It does. That's how bad Biden's America at this moment in time. Not tomorrow, not next week, not a year from now, but at this moment in time, that's how bad these numbers are.
We have a brand new NBC News poll out this morning that's filled with some scary news for the Democrats. The overarching message: Americans have lost their confidence in President Biden and their optimism for the country. At least they have right now. Just 22% of adults say we're headed in the right direction. A shocking 71% say we're on the wrong track. And that includes a near majority of Democrats who are saying that.
That's scary. That's scary. And of those majority of Democrats, so this is what you have. You had some who are looking at this. They want more progress. They want more progressive things thrown in there. But you also have a lot of conservative Democrats, as you would call them. Based on today's world, they're almost conservatives. But people who are union members, they're fine with pro-choice. But you know what? 52 weeks, probably not the choice you should make. Those kind of things. Well, that doesn't happen. Okay. But you get what I'm saying here. They want a strong border policy. They don't want to say no to coming into the country, but they do want somebody to maybe stand there every once in a while and go, hey, you can't come in here. It's harder to get in clubs around the world than it is to get in our country. Think about that. Your name's not down. You're not coming in. That's That's how bad it is. People are looking around saying, all right, you know what? This isn't good. This isn't good. Oh, it's just the beginning.
President Biden's approval rating stands at a dismal 42% versus 54% who disapprove. Believe it or not, just 2 months ago, Mr. Biden was in positive territory, 49% approving, 48% disapproving. So what's pulling down the president's numbers? Just 37% say he has the ability right now to handle a crisis versus nearly a majority who say he does not. 37% also say he's competent and effective as president. 50% disagree with that description.
That's not a win right there. But the scary numbers are coming. The scary numbers. And I'm going to tell you this. They went on climate, the Democrats. Not a shocker. Coronavirus. Now, here's the thing. Handling of the coronavirus versus empathy of the coronavirus, right? There's always the thing with Trump. Trump as a human being or Trump in his actions? There's a lot of people out there. By the way, there's a lot of people out there that you may love their music, their art, the way they do business and stuff. And you may sit there and you find out as a human being, they're probably not the best human beings. But Trump as a human being, well, different story, right? Education. Of course they're going to win there. Why wouldn't they win there? The Democrats. Democrats and education are tied hand in hand. And abortion. Of course they're going to win there. But the numbers below are the ones that I think most people are talking about. Most people are talking about the lack of border security. Most people are talking about inflation. Most people are talking about crime and national security. Border security, Republicans, 27% to the good. Inflation, 24% to the good. Crime, 22 points. National security, 21 points. But then it gets scary. If you're a Democrat who's hoping that midterms don't become a red tidal wave, who are hoping that this administration gets it together and are looking at tomorrow night as kind of the first shot across the bow of what this is going to look like heading into 2022. These numbers right here.
What's more, Republicans have double-digit leads in dealing with border security, inflation, crime, national security, the economy, and shockingly, on getting things done.
Oh, that's right. Almost 20 points to the good when it comes to the economy and 13 points to the good with getting things done. Think about that for a second. People are looking and thinking inflation is ugly and nasty. The economy is not going the way they thought it was going to. You're talking about defunding the police in a way that is just horrible. You've done nothing with the border. These are the things that are on people's mind. What did I say last week? For the first time in a long time across the board, inflation now is beating COVID for the things that people are worried about. Supply chain issues. And we can go on and on. If you're the Democrats, you got to figure out, how do you pivot? How do you do something? How do you get past this? And now they think we're the party of do nothing because we're fighting amongst ourselves and we're not doing the things that we said we were going to do. Those numbers should scare you if you are a Democrat. I can't blame everything on them when it comes to inflation, but there's a part that's being played. Crime, absolute nightmare in a lot of places. You know it and I know it. Crime is up in a lot of places. Now they're talking about, well, we're not going to pull people over for stuff and we're not going to do. So, fine. Do what you think you need to do in your neck of the woods and let that be. But people are worried about it. Economy, it's a hot mess. It is. And border security, let's not even talk about it. There is no border security. He's ignored it. It doesn't exist. These are issues that you should absolutely, if you're a Democrat, be worried about. Now, will they do anything? I don't know. Right now, they're, of course, talking still about COVID. You got mandates going in, and on top of all of that, you're out there and you're doing what you do, which is let's talk about climate change because that matters to a lot of people, or so you think. But if somebody's sitting right now in, say, McAllen, Texas, and they're sitting around the dinner table, waking up for breakfast, they're trying to figure out what they're trying to do for the day and get everything going. They're really not thinking about climate change, and you're making a massive deal in all the things that you're doing as one of the number one movers inside of your administration and on your agenda. They're worried about the border. They're worried about inflation. They're worried about Christmas being here. And are they going to have enough to sell? Are they going to have enough to produce? Are they going to be able to get? Those things are the things that people are talking about. That's what people are looking at. Not saying that climate's not a part of something, but listen to what the people are saying. Sometimes you go, And if your goal is to do something that has nothing to do with any of those, then you're doing a hell of a job. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I do. And, Biden's out there and he's got this, you walk this thing where you look at climate and, you want to put this thing together. You can't even get the actual infrastructure bill passed. You got the human infrastructure bill. You got the left saying we're not going to do anything unless we get everything we want. You've got the center to the left saying these bills are good and this infrastructure bill is going to be okay and some of this stuff's all right. You've got tons of crony capitalism going on inside of your administration when you said that wasn't going to be what it is. But the reality is, for all intents and purposes, you're just Obama light.
President and other world leaders of these richest countries around the world, they're facing a lot of heat right now for what's been seen as setting only these modest goals on climate back home. The president's going to really be laying out some plans to help these developing nations, but he's going to be met with a lot of skepticism here. So many world leaders have seen so many other American presidents lay out these plans to fight climate change only to be met with resistance back home. That's certainly what's happening to President Biden, his early administration so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And at a time when you are talking about raising taxes, you're talking about energy crisis, that yes, even though you would do these now, we wouldn't feel them in theory for a few years. Still, people are looking at that, and you and I both know optics matter. He doesn't look strong. He looks weak on a lot of different things. He looks meandering at times. There are so many things that go into this, and you're over there talking about, people want to hear you talk about inflation. They want to hear you talk about the economy. They want to feel, for all the empathy that you portray, that you feel some of the pain of what's going on and that you're working to do something to fix it. And I don't know if he really wants to have that conversation. But people are going to sooner rather than later when it comes to voting. And tomorrow night, that big, it sounds weird, that governor's race in Virginia that should have been a win for Biden's guy, McAuliffe, it isn't going to be a walkover. And no matter what happens, unless it's a surprise 10 or 12-point victory, even if he does win over Glenn Youngkin, if it's a tight race to the point where there's a recount and then the battle goes on, that's a loss for the Democrats. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at it. Text the program. Love hearing from you. My Pillow. Let me tell you about My Pillow. Let me tell you what it's all about. The sheets. The Giza Dream Sheets right now. Buy one, get one free. It's called a BOGO, people. I do BOGO things for you. Buy one, get one free. And when you do that, you're going to get an amazing set of sheets. Breathable, incredible, long staple cotton grown right in the middle of the Mediterranean, between the Mediterranean Sea, the Nile, and Sahara Desert. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, you're going to love these things. Super breathable. You're never going to sleep too hot. You're never going to sleep too cool. It's going to be just perfect. And it is. The best sheets you'll ever own. You slide right into them. Feels like $1 million you're sliding into. And they're going to buy one, get one free. All the colors you want, tons of colors you want, tons of sizes from king all the way down. You choose. 60-day money-back guarantee, 1-year limited warranty, and right now, deep discounts across all of MyPillow's products. From the Giza Dream Sheets, the buy one, get one free, to the MyPillow, to the mattress topper, to the My Slippers, and yes, the towels. I love the My Slippers, by the way. Absolutely incredible. Save big. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. Use that promo code Benson right there to save big. Buy one, get one free. Giza Dream Sheets. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let us peek and find out what's trending. Start on the Google Trends. Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush won the game last night, filling in for an injured Dak. Got by Minnesota, which is Minnesota. That's everything you need to know, and you needed to see last night was all that is Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. The guy puts up eye-popping numbers at times. But he just, when the lights are bright, he shrieks away from it. And yeah, Saints yesterday and their defense stopped Tom Brady in crunch time. Steelers won. That's big. Mike White, the unheralded backup quarterback for the Jets, came in and had a monster game. Will continue to be the starter right now, while they're the guy they spent all this money on and trade capital to go up and get is recovering. Kal Penn, actor, Harold and Kumar, comes out as gay, and nobody cares. Am I supposed to care? Good for you. Fantastic. What if we come out as straight? Should people care? It's not very nice, Chad. Trick or treat, obviously. Halloween. Big. Head on over to Twitter. Twitter's a little different, as always, a little political, but still some fun. Kim Kardashian, Pete Davidson, Not Scary Farm, holding hands. Uh-oh. Pete Davidson, Kim Kardashian. What? Yeah, absolutely. Colin Kaepernick. His Netflix doc came out. We're going to touch on it in a minute, but what he compared the NFL to is insane. I think is the best way to describe it. Maybe, just a little bit insane. Southwest and American Airlines trending because of canceled flights and the chaos as we head into the holiday season. What is it going to look like in the coming days, weeks, and months when it comes to air travel? I don't know. I don't think any of us know. I don't. Michael Flynn's also trending, not in a good way. Everett Stern, alleged reps for the former National Security Advisor, approached him with objectives and how to influence and support lawmakers when it came to audits. And these are the battles that are still going on with the audits and whatnot. So the audit here in Arizona is done. So remember they got the ninjas to do it? The ninjas. So the ninjas came in. And they said, oh, yeah, we found all this irregular. Even though Biden won, we found a bunch of irregularities when it comes to other things that you need to look into. And everybody's like, oh, some people. But according to our hand count, of which we didn't get all the way through, even though it took us 9 months to do it, we found some other stuff that was totally irregular. And they raised a bunch of money doing that because, remember, it's always follow the money, you'll find the science and the truth. So they're supposed to return everything. They've returned 300 pages of something and files. They're supposed to return thousands upon thousands to the point now where the Republicans here, including the lady that got this thing going, is frustrated. And the courts have said, turn it or else. I don't know what the else looks like, but it didn't go the way I think they thought ninjas should go. It was not stealthy. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Optics matter, and the optics right now say that the Democrats, in particular Biden, well, they look weak. Numbers back it up. Numbers say you suck at inflation, the border, the economy, getting things done. That's scary.
What's more, Republicans have double-digit leads in dealing with border security, inflation, crime, national security, the economy, and shockingly, on getting things done.
Yeah. That's not a good look. People are frustrated. The beauty of our country is we are 50 little countries, right? So little bitty countries. You have a chance to go places. You have a chance to do things. You don't like what's going on over here, you can move somewhere else. It's not as easy as that. No, it's not as easy as just tomorrow, but you can move somewhere where you think, this aligns better with my values. We are a country that has a mix like no other on the planet. You're not getting this mixture in China. You're not getting this mixture in Russia. You're not getting this mixture even in the UK or Australia. You're not. It's here. But right now, we definitely have a situation going on where I'd love to see Biden look stronger to the Chinese, to the Russians. I'd love to see inflation go away. And if he had a hand in doing it, fantastic. I'd love to see the economy booming in a way that we haven't seen in a while. It was booming under Trump. Say what you want. It was. Well, it's all because of Obama. So I see. So this is all Trump's fault. Everything was Obama's fault that went right. And no, it doesn't work that way. You wanted to be the man. You have the opportunity to be the man. And right now, it's not going well for you. And then we've, of course, got COVID dangling out there. We've got the fights that are going on. We've got mandates that are going in place. We've got cities across this country who are going to be lacking fire, men and women, police officers who are telling their kids they got to wear masks to school indefinitely, that we're going to change the vaccinated now to, we're going to change it soon, right? So it used to be if you got both your shots, you were vaccinated. Now it might be, well, you got to have 3 shots. Otherwise, you're just kind of vaccinated. Every time we turn around, there's something new happening. And then you've got most of America, a lot of America when it comes to the red states.
I'm not sure what the latest Dr. Fauci thing was on Halloween. He changes his mind a lot, but I think it was go and do it. I hope so, because it certainly has been my position since the beginning of this. Just resume living. Come on, 15 of 100,000. That's where we are at cases in California. 15 cases per 100,000 people. I know some people seem to not want to give up on the wonderful pandemic, but you know what? It's over.
Yeah, it's over. Start to live your life. And I can't live my life based around the boogeyman potentially around the corner. You can't. And that's what so many people are trying to do.
There's always going to be a variance. You shouldn't have to wear masks. Well, I haven't had a meeting with my staff since March of 2020. Why? And also, vaccine, mask, pick one. You got to pick. You can't make me mask if I've had the vaccine.
Boom. 100%. 100%. 100%. So ridiculous. And you sit there and you're like, oh, no. How many of you really think the mask thing is worth a damn? Honestly. Honest to God. I walk around here sometimes with my mask so far around my chin, I look like my jaw's been broken and they've wrapped it. I wear it, what is the deal? Just curious. What is it? You can't explain it to me because you don't know. You're trying to protect yourself. CYA yourself from what? You tell everybody here they have to be vaccinated. Everybody over there's got to be vaccinated. And then when everybody does, you're still making them wear a mask. What the hell is that for? Who is that trying to help? Why don't you just make everybody wear a hazmat suit if you're that concerned about it?
People outside alone walking with a mask. It's so stupid.
Yes.
It's a charm people wear around neck to ward away evil spirits. It means nothing.
Nothing. I saw somebody the other day driving in a car, and I see this at least once a day, but this one was spectacular. They're driving in the car, nobody around them. They've got a mask on, their window open, and I'm thinking to myself, do you even see you? Honestly. I mean, do you, there's nobody around you. Who are you afraid is going to get you sick? And if you're that afraid of getting sick, because I can tell if you're wearing a mask, you've already got God knows how many vaccine shots. So if you're that afraid of getting sick, shouldn't you be at home?
The world recognizes natural immunity. We don't, because everything in this country has to go through the pharmaceutical companies.
Boom.
Natural immunity is the best kind of immunity. We shouldn't fire people who have natural immunity because they don't get the vaccine. We should hire them. People who've had it, I've had it, I shouldn't be tested anymore.
Yeah. No, you should be tested every day. And then last week comes out what? A new study that if you're vaccinated or you've had the shots and you're at home, living inside your home with other people, as people tend to do, you're just as likely to spread it and or catch it than somebody who's unvaccinated. But that's impossible, Chad. But then the CDC came out over the weekend and said, nope, it's the shots are the ones that give you the best immunity. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's whatever the money says gives you if you ran a thing called natural immunity and you were able to, hey, we've patented natural immunity, so everybody's got to pay us don't tell the pharmaceutical companies that. They're probably pissed going, man, how do we think of this? Natural immunity is giving everybody the opportunity to not get our shot. We should have a little piece of that, a little piece of action, a little bit of action.
For unvaccinated hospitalization risk, unvaccinated, 41% of Democrats thought it was over 50%. Hospitalization rate for the vaccinated is actually 0.01%. And the rate for the unvaccinated is 0.89%. So in both cases, the correct answer is less than 1%. They thought it was over 50. How do people, especially of one party, get such a bad idea?
Because they buy everything the news media is selling them. I will sit here and watch just watch some of the commercials that fly by. Why should I? Because you see all the pharmaceutical commercials flying by. Understand that they're paying for that. So shouldn't their message be, hey, get vaccinated, get the shot, don't listen, mandates are most important things? Oh, of course. Of course. 100%. I watched football yesterday. Tons of games. Nobody's wearing a mask. Outside of the silliness of somebody having to put on a mask, or, you can no longer do the interview where you hand it. You got to have some guy stand 12 feet away, right? With the microphone underneath their belly button.
Look at the sporting events that all three sports are playing now, including basketball, which is inside. Nobody seems to be having super spreader events. I mean, it was great. It was so much fun having a pandemic. But, bye-bye.
Boom. Bye-bye. That's what it should be. You learn to live above this thing. You learn to live with this thing, through this thing, around this thing, and above this thing. What you don't want to do is allow to control your life. But we've allowed that to happen. And then it became something more. And then throughout this thing, we've had the breaking of the supply chains and us not trying to fix them when we had the opportunities in certain places. And it's continuing to be that way. Now you're losing, everybody thinks these mandates are going to play out extremely well and that people are going to be forced to get these things. And I say to myself, where does it end? Just curious. Where does it end? Does it end when on your 28th shot? On your 50th shot? You have to get flu shot? Well, we're just going to add it to all the other stuff you got to take. How many of you other people take a bunch of stuff? I don't. I mean, outside of like vitamins, some stuff like that, I don't. It's mandatory. Wearing a mask, just in case. Just in case what? So funny, we all wear a mask to walk to somebody else's office where we all take the mask off. That's it. Now you're having bigger cities say, you know what? We're going to find out what it's like if you reduce your force of fighting fires, potentially fighting crime, even though nobody's allowed to do that anymore, and even picking up the garbage.
About 20% of the police department and nearly 30% of the fire department are not, setting up a potential showdown with the mayor over one of the toughest vaccine mandates in the nation.
For the mayor to turn around and say we can run this department with 25 to 35% less members is ignoring the fact that we can't even keep firehouses open today.
Yeah. Well, he'll find out. It shouldn't be this way. Should be a choice. And again, it's about living with this thing, through this thing, around this thing, but most importantly, above the thing, giving us the opportunity to say, look, this thing's not going anywhere. We have never, ever in the history of ever eliminated something that can jump from humans to people and back and forth. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to get every animal. Oh, are we going to destroy every animal? Is that what we're going to do? Except the animals that we know can't catch this thing? No. So what then? Follow the money. Follow the money. That'll help. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. Each and every single one of you. And then on the other side, you've got crime issues, which are not helping the Democrats at all. And the crime issues are growing. Minnesota has on its docket, if you will, for voting, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix crime. Because we saw what happened to George Floyd, which all of us agrees was absolutely vile and disgusting. So then there was the knee-jerk reaction, because we're a reactionary country, of let's just get rid of all police officers. I mean, normal people weren't that way, but some were, and they gathered enough support, and then they did, and then all of a sudden in certain areas it's like, okay, hold on a second, this didn't go as well as we thought, so now there's reform once again on the ballot.
One of the real issues here, and according to the city council members that we talked to, it's by design, is that there's not a lot of framework, right? They're trying to reimagine something, and they're keeping it vague on purpose. They want room, they want some space to kind of define this as they go.
People don't like that, right? Remember Pelosi, this passive, so we could see what's in it? People want, like, hey, if we're doing this, I'm doing this not because you giving me vague ideas about where this thing can go and what it could be. Because we all know when the ideas are vague, it leaves a lot of runway for people to run and do silly things and overreach.
Minnesotans will vote on what is called a charter amendment. And if the proposed amendment goes through, the police department would fall under this new Department of Public Safety overseen by both the mayor and the city council. It would make changes to the required number of officers based on population. It would reallocate.
It's going to reallocate some money. And that's, look, I've always said we need to figure out what to do with policing, where we bring policing into modern times, but also make them what they were supposed to be. You're an officer of the law. You're there to uphold the law. You're there to protect and serve. You shouldn't be there to be a drug counselor. You shouldn't be there to be a domestic counselor for relationships that have gone bad. You're not there to fix homelessness. And we can go on and on. But the first thing is you've got to protect. How do you go about doing that? Because as much as you want to be kinder and gentler, at the same time, you're not going to send people in. You're not sending the insurance agents in to start writing up the claim for a house that's burning. You need somebody to put the fire out. You're not going to be sending, counselors in to domestic disputes that could become violent because you think, well, this is no. So what's the reimagining of it? But when you leave it vague, you're going to get vague results. And you'll see overreaching. And you'll see people that are just turn this thing into so much of a political just mixed bag of junk that it's not going to be successful. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Give it to my dogs every single day. Love it. Love it. Love it. I do. Give it to my dogs because they love it. It is just this amazing supplement. It's got vitamins and minerals and probiotics, all this incredible stuff in it. And I don't change anything with their food. It's the same food, sprinkle it on top of their food, and it brings their food to life. And that's what I love about Rough Greens, is I didn't have to make changes except for this one. It has given my dogs, especially my older dog, a new lease on life. It'll do the same for your dogs. Right now, Rough Greens wants you to try it before you buy it. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. You go there, you try it. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping. Roughgreens.com/Chad, RUFFgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MyDog77, 833-MyDog77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Climate change. A lot of people out there, that's the number one thing. The average person's like, look, climate's important, but I need to put food on my tables. And, of course, the climate summit is going on right now. I was just laughing. There are 400, let's say it again, 400 private jets at the climate summit. Hey, guys, we got to start taking this thing serious. Let's get over there. This climate thing's vital. Come on now. Let's do it.
With regard to the disappointment in terms of any commitments to deal with climate change, the disappointment relates to the fact that Russia and not only Russia, but China basically didn't show up in terms of any commitments to deal with climate change. But what we did do, we passed a number of things here to end the subsidization of coal. That old trite saying goes, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. More has to be done. It's going to require us to continue to focus on what China's not doing, what Russia's not doing, and what Saudi Arabia is not doing.
So that's what you guys are going to do? You're going to hyper-focus on what the others aren't doing? Well, they're not doing stuff, so why should we? It's not, they're not, they should be doing more. Do you think they care, honestly? They care about putting food on their people's table. They care about making sure that their economies are booming so the people don't get pissed off over the fact that they're losing their freedoms. They kind of care about that. Hey, they're building a new city in Saudi Arabia, right? And then when they're building that new city was going to be no cars. So that'll be good. Getting rid of, we're going to get rid of coal. You're not getting rid of coal. You're not. Not this year. You got heating oil and natural gas prices through the roof. So coal is actually going to be the number one supplier of energy and electricity this year, it looks like. That's what it looks like. So people all fly in other private jets and tell you, you guys should care about the climate. So there. Now I'm going to get on my jet and leave. Oh, my goodness. That's hypocrisy. Right there. Everybody wants to be a part of the solution as long as it doesn't affect their life negatively. Does it make it so I'm more uncomfortable? Yeah. Well, I don't want to be that part. Can I just give a fuck, a few bucks? Like maybe $8, $10, $12, $50, $100, but only for the year. You got to give up your car. No, I don't think I can. Well, your car runs on electricity. Yeah, it does. It's pretty awesome. How do you get electricity? Well, there's a magic thing, and it's magic. We catch it. The magic catcher of stuff with electricity stuff. No. Everybody wants to participate until it makes them, uncomfortable and puts them in a situation where they don't want to because it'll bug them. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Optics matter. Don't let anybody tell you they don't in a day and age where, quite frankly, we look around and we say, based on what we see in the eyeball test, based on this quick taste test, these optics matter. And right now, the optics of Biden and his poll numbers should scare you the day after Halloween if you're a Democrat.
We have a brand new NBC News poll out this morning that's filled with some scary news for the Democrats. The overarching message, Americans have lost their confidence in President Biden and their optimism for the country. At least they have right now. Just 22% of adults say we're headed in the right direction. A shocking 71% say we're on the wrong track. And that includes a near majority of Democrats who are saying that.
That's right. 70% of independents, 48% of Democrats believe that way. And you're like, well, that's just one. Here we go. 538 poll tracker, Biden, 51% disapprove. Real Clear Politics, 52%. Gallup, 52%. We can go on. It is not a good look. He looks weak on a ton of stuff. He does. He looks incoherent at times, weak on a bunch of different things. He doesn't seem to be putting the pulse on what America wants and needs. They're sitting around worried about the fourth quarter being ugly for their business, for their family, for all of these things. When you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, well, what's the thing? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Afghanistan, bleh, coronavirus. People are going, wait a minute here. Trump didn't have the coronavirus vaccine, even though it came on his watch. But you've had it in full, and you have not decreased the amount of people that have died. Why is that? And that's not his fault. But people are going to ask that question. Inflation is through the roof. Not all of it's his fault, but people are going to ask the question, and they're going to need somebody to blame. And he should get the blame for some of it. You're in that position. You are the guy, the gal. You want to be there, you'll have to face the questions, which he doesn't do much. So Afghanistan, inflation, COVID. When you start breaking down the numbers, you start to look at some of these things, and you're like, oh, my God.
President Biden's approval rating stands at a dismal 42% versus 54% who disapprove. Believe it or not, just 2 months ago, Mr. Biden was in positive territory, 49% approving, 48% disapproving. So what's pulling down the president's numbers? Just 37% say he has the ability right now to handle a crisis versus nearly a majority who say he does not. 37% also say he's competent and effective as president. 50% disagree with that description.
And competent and effective are real. But the scary numbers are coming. Now, Democrats double digits on, education and abortion and the coronavirus. That's where their lead's at. Education, though, it's only 10%. It's not what it once was. It's not. Abortion, plus 10%. Because I think a lot of people looking around going, okay, you know what? This fight's getting crazy. It's getting ugly, and it's going to be in the Supreme Court. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you think they'd be higher. Climate change, yeah, you're going to be higher on that. But then you get to the things that people are talking about every single day. And those numbers, whew.
What's more, Republicans have double-digit leads in dealing with border security, inflation, crime, national security, the economy, and shockingly, on getting things done.
Getting things done. It doesn't mean at all that you are going to get everything you want. But when right now you look around and the things that you have done is you've tried to roll back some of Trump's stuff. You're trying to add taxes at a time when we're in a situation where we've got inflation, an economy is struggling, we're looking for workers, broken supply chain, we can go on and on and on. Well, I think we should get rid of Trump's tax cuts for the wealthy and for this. It's so funny. It's like, you want to do that. And here's something for those of you guys. Salt. That's one of the big things they're on about. Salt. State and local tax deductions, right? Salt. That affects 98% of it affects only people who are millionaires. They want to eliminate. 98% affects people who are millionaires in the upper echelon. That's where 98% of the effective tax issues are right there. So hilarious. Education battles going on. You've got the battle of the coronavirus and the mandates and the feeling like we've created two different worlds, and everybody in the left coast and the right coast should be very excited about that, right? You got the haves and the have-nots, and we're going to force you to do this or else. All the while, numbers are falling precipitously. The nightmare in Afghanistan that was, not blaming all of that. No matter what you try to do, you're not going to pull out of something like that and think that it's going to go as smoothly as you would like and hope and pray. But for the bad deal that Trump cut, which, oh, Trump cut a bad deal. Any deal with them was going to be a bad deal. It could have been the most ironclad deal ever. And if we're going to say the bad deal cutting, and that's where we want to go, remember the deal that Clinton and everybody cut with Kim Jong-un's pops. And within hours, he had nuclear weapons. Essentially, is what it was like. Deals aren't worth the paper they're written on when you're dealing with people who are going to make bad deals, and even the best deals are going to be bad because they're not going to follow them. Tomorrow night, big night in Virginia. Huge. And let's be real. This thing going to go down to the wire when you've got McAuliffe and Youngkin and these polar opposites battle going on, and everybody's going to be looking at it because the implications you can have nationwide of where we may be headed and what the Democrats may be facing as we head into the new year, it's massive. The amount of money poured in there, double what people have spent before. Tons of it from the outside. And it's kind of a snapshot of what you got going on. And for the Republicans, I think it's a playbook for some people. Can you be somebody who keeps Trump at arm's length, but not to the point where you get disavowed by him or you disavow him because you still need his people? And how can you make sure that everybody you run against, if you're on the left, you can tie to Trump? Because at the end of the day, tomorrow night is as much a Trump versus Biden as it is Youngkin versus McAuliffe. And you're seeing that at the local school board level. You're seeing at the communities and council levels. You're seeing that throughout state and local elections across the board. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. New York's having issues, as we all know. And those issues are simple. You got the mandate versus the non-mandate. You have a lot of people out there that are saying they're not going to get the shot. A lot of those people are people who are cops, fire department. They're frustrated. We'll find out what it looks like in the coming days and weeks. Are they going to have to close places?
Anyways, the story I'm about to tell you, this one's downright.
And by the way, this is a joke. I just want to have some fun with this lady, because anybody in any day and age can have fun nowadays. It's a tragic story of what we could be facing everywhere. It's a joke, though. It's just a little bit of laughter.
Anyways, the story I'm about to tell you, this one's downright terrifying. Y'all know my cousin Chet? Well, he went to a potluck. He drank a little too much. He choked on his hot dog. Chet said it was real bad. So he picked up the phone and called the paramedics, and nobody answered. And then he called the police. Nobody answered there neither. Then he called the fire department. Nobody answered. Now, Chet swears up and down that it's not because he didn't have cell phone service. He said it's Joe Biden's fault because nobody works there no more. They will up and quit because of them vaccine mandates. Anyway.
No, that's not true. She's joking. It's laughter. But it's the way some people think it's going to happen. That's it. And you're seeing some of it. And is the media going to report everything about it? No. And remember, the media, and we're talking about the big media, they take a lot of money from Big Pharma. They take a ton of money from Big Pharma. One of the big issues going on right now is they battle over some of these infrastructure / reconciliation / human infrastructure bill is how much big donations and big powers that be in the crony capitalism world squeezes on in and is able to influence stuff like, hey, you know that 2-year free college? Yeah, let's get rid of that. Who are you guys? We're the 4-year college, and we don't like that. Oh, okay. So big money, coal with our good friend and yours over there, Manchin. Of course he takes big money from big coal. He works and he represents a coal state. On the other side, Big Pharma's pouring money in to a lot of people's coffers. This battle's going on. All of these things are happening. Follow the money. It's all I say, follow the money. Go look at the big green energy. It's a battle right now, not a big green energy and fossil fuels and what's better for the environment. It's a battle of who and how much can people throw at people to influence them. But Chad, climate change. We need to take better care of the planet. You're never going to hear me say anything other than that. Absolutely. And if we could find better, easier ways to do it, you know we should. In saying all of that, money will influence this thing as much as anything else. And the battle that's going on right now is who's got the most money to throw at something. You can get the world on your side all you want, but if you don't have a ton of money to back it up, it's going to be a struggle. And all of those planes there, 400 planes that have flown into this big climate change conference, 400 of them, private jets. How'd they get there? Oh, they got there in unicorn love. No. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show your Twitter. Tweet at us. Check out the Getter and Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Car Shield, 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. That shop is the shop that you choose. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by Car Shield. There's a reason that Car Shield cars go farther, and it's because Car Shield's there for you to protect you from covered repairs that are going to be so expensive, thousands upon thousands of dollars, and now just finding some of these things is becoming tougher and tougher to do. Car Shield is there. You choose that place you want to take it, and it's coast to coast, by the way, which is amazing. So if you're on a vacation somewhere and your car breaks down, you know what? Car Shield has your back. You call them. Their administrators take care of it from step one. All you do is pay a small deductible. Let them handle the paperwork, the headaches. They get it done fast. Go to carshield.com/Benson right now, carshield.com/Benson. You do that, you save 10% right off the bat. They've got budgets-friendly options for everyone. carshield.com/Benson, carshield.com/Benson. Save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Wanna be boys? Give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
That is us, kids, having a fun show tomorrow night. Big, giant, huge race in Virginia. Youngkin, McAuliffe, who will win? The critical race theory has been the battle that's going on there, and that's the battle that's being taken on because it's a big thing. Because why? Because parents vote, and they're not thrilled by a lot of the stuff they see. By the way, it's not just white parents. It's a lot of parents. There are black parents out there like, you know what? I'm not, excuse me, Bayak. I don't know if I said it right. I don't think I did. It is BIPOC. It was not to be confused with Tupac, who was a Shakira, as we all know. But we'll talk about BIPOC here in a minute. They're not happy with this. They feel like it's like they're pitting kids versus each other who are friends that should be the most inclusive time in history, and it feels like it's the most divided time when it's really not. But that's a lot of the focus in what's been going on.
I'll be voting for Glenn Youngkin on November 2nd, and education is the top issue.
Teachers who ask me every day, Glenn, please help us teach our children how to think.
I think that virtual schools didn't do any kids any favors. I think it's really important for in-school education to be happening, for quality education to be happening. And I don't think that critical race theory has any place in our public schools.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of it. And by the way, when you hear McAuliffe has come out, critical race theory is nowhere when it comes to, it is inside of when you go look at the Virginia, education side, it's there. It is. But for the left, so much of it is about clicking all of the right boxes. This is McAuliffe caught on mic telling Latinos, hey, let's get those numbers up, guys.
Listen, it's going to be here before we know it. And as everyone mentioned, first of all, 10.5% of the population is very significant. Now, let me give you some advice. Get busy, get yourself to 11 relatively quickly. There you go. I like to see all the kids here.
I've done my part.
But that's very important. And
yeah, I've done my part. So funny. It's about, hey, what's the color of your skin? We'll have more of you so we can have more voters, not based on what they think, not based on us putting our ideas out there and then those people going, hey, here's our ideas. You decide what's best for you. None of that is real. It's just about checking the box. What's the box? Hey, you're Latino, and because you're Latino, you should vote for me in theory, not understanding that Latinos in particular, you got people from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico, throughout South America, Latinx, whatever everybody wants to call them, that makes everybody check the box off. They tend to be a little bit more conservative than I think you think they are. And on top of that, the African American, Black American, I just call them Americans who happen to be black, but whatever. They're starting to go, you know what? I'm not buying your crap anymore. I'm not. The problem for the Republicans is you need to start making inroads. It's hard to make inroads in a lot of different reasons for Republicans and where they're failing. And this is where they're going to have to start making inroads and thinking outside the box. And we're going to talk about that, why it's tough for some Republicans to make inroads. And you find out it's a day and age where, you have to focus on your district. And guess what? Your district doesn't have a lot of what? People of color. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet and text Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Republicans, if you want to make headways into, hold on here, I'm going to say it, BIPOC. What? Yeah, BIPOC. So if you don't know what BIPOC is, remember the left they're controlling the language at times, and this is kind of what they're going with now. So they're making up things. BIPOC, which is Black and Indigenous people of color. If you want to make headways into there, you've got to go there, right? And I remember going to when Trump got the nominee the first time, going to the convention. And I was talking to Rance Paul, or Rance Priskin, or whatever freaking Don King called him. Still the best. And I mean, Rance Priskin. But, I'm there talking to him. And I said, why isn't people in the Republican Party, why aren't they going out there? No, we get our message out there to people, but we want people to, no, it's not the way. You don't want people coming to you. You go to the people, right? You standing in the middle of a desert and fishing isn't going to work, hoping the fish show up to you. But then you also have to put it in perspective as why, if you're in a predominantly white and Asian area, would you go speak somewhere else when it doesn't benefit you? Remember, so much of it's benefits. What's the benefit to me going and speaking to a bunch of people that can't vote for me? What's that? And when you end up doing that, usually it's because somebody's running against an incumbent and you've got a Republican or conservative person that's running in there and they'll ask you to come. But outside of that, you're not reaching out. You're not trying to do anything because there's no benefit to you. And that's so much what politics is all about. What's the benefit to me? How does this affect me? If it doesn't really affect you at all, you're probably not going to do it. You're not. Again, we are a nation of convenience. So you focus where you think you need to focus. And that's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. And that's what you see in the world of politics. Very rarely you got some statewide issues, right? Which is Senate and the governor. They're going to go and they'll talk to everybody. But outside of that, it's you go and you speak to the people in your district. And that's what I've always said. Republicans, it's not hard to go and to try to say, hey, let me tell you something. I'm not saying these people over here on the left are bad. They're not. Many of them are good people. Just saying, I think our ideas are better. I think our ideas are extremely good. I think we've got good ideas. They're not perfect. I'm sure there's flaws in them. And no matter how good your idea is in life, once you put it out in a real world scenario, that's what happens. It gets tested. But these are the ideas we have. Right now, one of the big things going on is, are we going to defund police? Or are we not going to defund police? Okay? Like people are asking Dan Abrams about his kid for Halloween who's going to dress up like a police officer.
I'll tell you, just in terms of this cultural moment we're in, when you live in Manhattan, as I do, my son is going to be for Halloween a police officer, right? I didn't ask him. He just decided he wanted to be a police officer. And so he got a police outfit. And I have people saying to me, well, are you nervous about your son going out as a police officer for Halloween? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Am I nervous about my son going out for Halloween as a police officer? The fact that we're at that point is just so frustrating to me and maddening.
Yeah, maddening for a reason. Why? Because a few bad people do bad things, and now all of a sudden, I saw a little girl last night dressed as a police officer. That's right, little girl. She was dressed as a police officer. Now, where I live, get away with that a lot easier. Manhattan, not so much. Not so much.
The small minority of bad actors draw most of the headlines when it comes to police. And yet I hear again and again people say to me, that's just a cop-out. You're just trying to defend the police. You're just trying to protect them, etc. But I do think that that's true. I mean, I've spent a lot of time covering police officers, etc. I see how much time and effort the vast majority of police officers spend to do their jobs really well. And yet there are a few bad players out there. And as you point out, those are the ones who should be held accountable.
Absolutely. They should absolutely be held accountable. 100%. But you're talking about defunding police. You're seeing crime rates rise in areas. They're trying new things in certain areas. Get this. Michael Smerconish talking about the driving equality bill in Philly.
Philadelphia is aiming to become the first major U.S. city to stop the practice of police pulling over drivers for low-level offenses, which occur disproportionately often when the drivers are people of color. The so-called driving equality bill was passed by the city council by a vote of 14-2. It details which secondary offenses can no longer be the primary reason for pulling over a vehicle and will instead be resolved with mail-in citations.
So mail-in citations, that's what we're going to do. Mail-in citations. Okay. So we're not going to pull people over for low-level infractions. I think a lot of people out there, so if my tags are late a month, you're not going to pull me over. Well, part of the reason, what if you pull people over and they have something in there? You got pulled over something minor. That could turn out to be a major issue.
They include missing registration card, location of temporary registration, license plate placement, single broken bulb or light, other obstruction to a mirror, etc., minor bumper damage, lack of inspection, or emission sticker. The legislation comes in the wake of several national cases of high-profile deaths of black drivers following such routine traffic stops. Think Sandra Bland in Texas or Dante Wright in Minnesota.
Okay. So there you go. Now, Chicago, again, this goes back to we're trying to reimagine what policing would be like. Because this nation has become, everything's black and white and us versus them, which none of that is true. But it's made out to feel that way. And again, if it doesn't affect you, you don't have this issue if your main district is Manhattan or, Santa Monica.
Police can still conduct stops for non-secondary violations. Think speeding, think blowing through a stop sign. But if the mayor, as expected, signs this into law, the police should have more free time to combat crime. According to the Defender Association, about 97% of police vehicle stops are for these low-level violations. Of the drivers whose vehicles are searched were people of color, searches of white people's stopped vehicles were actually more likely to turn up contraband.
There you go. I've been pulled over for everything. I got pulled over a couple of months ago for my plate was like a month. Not even that. It's like a few weeks because I have two cars. And we double paid one registration instead of paying the other one. So the other one's like paid up through all of this year, next year, and the year after. The other one wasn't. It was silly. But I get pulled over all the time. They pull me out. I'm tatted up, right? Like I went to the bathroom a little while ago, and the guy in front of me works at the place next door, which is I always call them the nerds, but they're engineers. And he was like, I think he thought I was going to mug him going in the bathroom. Like, this guy's going to kill me. Right? It's like, okay, whatever. I get it. Bald head guy, tats all over. You think that. But I get it. Driving while black, it's real. It's absolutely real. Can't say that it's not. But again, it goes back to, okay, so what do we and don't we pull over? And how do we go about doing this? That's real. A conversation that's real. Not a conversation that is, we're just not going to do anything. Or, we're going to get rid of police altogether. We're going to replace them with, unicorn wranglers. No, I mean, what's real and what's not real?
Joining me now, the Philadelphia City Councilman who initiated the bill, Councilman Isaiah Thomas.
I myself have been pulled over in the city of Philadelphia more times than the amount of years I've been actually driving. I've been an active victim as it relates to driving while black in the city of Philadelphia. We still feel like we can have some level of enforcement as it relates to motor vehicle code violations. We have a number of different methods that we want to use to be able to enforce minor traffic violations. And most importantly, we want to put law enforcement in a position where they can spend more time focusing on more serious crimes.
Yeah, which is good. And that's the way it should be. That's, I think, what we want, right, is to be able to focus on those things. And I don't think that's a bad thing. That's a way of trying to deal with certain things. And then you adjust. If crime goes up in certain areas and there's a correlation of why the stops went the way that they went, and all of a sudden we've seen crime jump, then we take a step back and go, okay, well, maybe we need to do something here. Maybe we need to make an adjustment to this. But crime is up, big time. Case in point, San Francisco, where nothing is a crime.
Thefts are on the rise at a Safeway in San Francisco.
Normally at this hour, you'd see a fair amount of cars in this Safeway parking lot, but take a look. It's pretty much empty. Tonight, many shoppers were surprised to find that the Safeway they frequent at off hours is now closed at 9 p.m. every night.
I feel like it's definitely an inconvenience. Not everybody can make it to the supermarket at between those hours.
Well, why is that? I wonder why they would close a store, right? Well, it's got to be because of evil profits.
Supervisor Raphael Mandelman's district includes the Market Street Safeway and the Castro.
And I think like a lot of retailers, they have been experiencing increasing property crime and theft from their stores. I think the last 6 months, from what they say, has been sort of off the charts in terms of how bad it's been. It is sad and upsetting and frustrating.
So it's a little frustrating, especially for me personally.
Yeah, I bet it is. But again, it goes back to one of them's trying to deal with something real. The other one is doing something what? They're saying crime really doesn't happen. Petty crime doesn't mean anything. And because petty crime doesn't mean anything, it's not a big deal. But you're seeing the real impact that it has. Philadelphia, they're trying something new. Will it have real impact? I think it will. Now, if crime goes through the roof or you see a jump and you could draw a correlation between the two, then you adjust, which we know politics, they don't like to do. Here, business is going, we're adjusting because at this moment in time, we're not seeing a good return on our investment because crime.
Mandelman said he's now working on organizing a meeting with Safeway, SFPD, and the district attorney.
It's an equity problem. There's a lot of low-income folks, seniors, folks with disability who rely on that Safeway and other Safeways around the city.
For now, Johnny Denham, who works at night, says he'll have to change his routine.
It's better for me to come up here after work, go shopping, and then go home.
Tonight, we reached out to Safeway for comment, but we have not yet heard back.
Oh, it's an equity problem. So you've got to throw those words in. Those are the catch. Just like the dog whistle, everybody says, critical race theory is a dog whistle for racists. Or let's go Brandon was my favorite headline the other day. It's used a dog whistle for insulting Biden. Well, it's an insult to Biden, but only because of the humor of the fact that everybody knew what they were chanting at NASCAR. And that guy's all, no, they're saying, let's go Brandon. That's not really a dog whistle. That's just stupidity. You were lying to everybody. But it is interesting, right? it's very interesting when you think about, you got to throw certain words in there. Equity, quality, low income. Those are dog whistles for the Uber. Oh, you're doing everything you can, take care of everything. I hear you. You're being very equitable. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Craziness in China at Disneyland. We shall discuss. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Oh, boy. We trick-or-treated last night. Took my stepdaughters out, my wife and I, and of course, my daughter. Jack got 8 pounds of candy. He was in San Diego with his friend. They got 8 pounds of candy. 8 pounds of candy. It's like, Dad, this one house gave us full candy bars. I'm like, oh, yeah, we got a couple of those. He goes, no. And he showed me. And you know, you get like a regular Twix bar or Kit Kat bar. Then he got the one that was like 5 ounces that was huge. I'm like, damn. So they had fun. They trick-or-treated the hell out of it. It was a good time, had by all. And then I was like, this kid, he was walking by, and I'm like, he's in a sumo outfit. All right, so he's in a sumo outfit, and he's got the full sumo hair going on. And I thought, is that cultural appropriation? Because, you know, is that fat shaming? Those are questions now. Is that going to get him in trouble? Mom, Dad, did you guys erase those? Erase those pictures. Don't let anybody see him out here. Erase those pictures. Or else. Oh, my Lord. But we went to one house that was super Disney. So it was like, it was like super Disney, including the fact that he had windows around his house that you don't see in the front, but when you get out, you see the windows on the side, and the air conditioning ducts, they were all in Mickey Mouse. The ears and everything. I thought, they like Disney. Disney, on the other hand, in China, had an issue. Shanghai Disneyland, Sunday. People in hazmat suits streamed through the gates preparing to test everyone for COVID-19. 34,000 people tested. Because a woman traveled to Shanghai from nearby Hangzhou over the weekend. Now, they didn't know whether or not she had visited Disneyland, but they decided they were going to test everybody all the way through midnight. Then they had special buses that carried everybody home, and everybody must isolate at home for 2 days and be retested for the coronavirus within 2 weeks. Not even sure if she was there. That's insane. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Baldwin speaking after the incident at the ranch, filming the movie Rust, of which he's a producer and a writer.
Alec Baldwin says he's fully cooperating with police.
I'm not allowed to make any comments because it's an ongoing investigation. I've been ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation.
Clips from the celebrity news site Backgrid.
We were a very, very, well-oiled crew shooting a film together, and then this horrible event happened.
Baldwin says whenever anybody decides on changes to improve movie set safety,
I will cooperate with that in any way that I can.
The film's head of photography was killed, the director wounded.
Yeah. So he talked about her.
I'm not allowed to make any comments.
No comments.
Because it's an ongoing investigation.
Yes, totally.
I've been ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't. Okay. It's an active investigation in terms of a woman dying. She was my friend. The day I arrived in Santa Fe to start shooting, I took her to dinner with Joel, the director. And then this horrible event happened. There are incidental accidents on film sets from time to time, but nothing like that.
It happened. We'll see. The armorer not happy about the way she's being portrayed as an idiot and a buffoon and somebody who should be held accountable for this, which I think the assistant director and her will be eventually held accountable. It's a horrible, horrible situation. We all recognize that. But people, this happened, and somebody died. And I don't blame it on Baldwin. I do blame it on the other two. And you're being portrayed as how other people are saying you were on other movie sites. Have a good day. We got you over your Monday. Night-night, Jack.
This is The Chad Benson Show.